go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and today I have more shore living DIYs for you using the new line from the Dollar Tree. So let's get started. The first one, I'm going to use a shore living plate charger. It is blue and it is really pretty, and I am going to try to make this into a coastal mirror. I saw something at Kirklands, really expensive. Let me post a picture of what I saw. Here it is. It's a painted nautical rope wood framed wall mirror, and I thought that that was really cute, and I knew I could make this with just a couple items from the Dollar Tree. Do you see the price on that? Crazy. So we're going to make maybe a smaller version. So I am going to use a Dollar Tree mirror. This is just one of their round mirrors. I just peel the paper off the back, and this was super easy to remove from the frame. It was only attached with like 3 dots of like glue. So I think that's going to be the perfect size to fit in the middle of the charger. It's already got like a great color, but I want to do like every third one a different color, kind of like what they did on my inspiration piece. And so I'm just going to start painting. Now, there is a little groove in between the little flutes of the side of the plate, so it makes it really easy to paint, stay inside your line, and not have to tape anything. So I'm just gonna go every third with this color. This is Caribbean blue acrylic paint, and I'm gonna leave that existing color of blue with the black distressing on there because I think that looks really pretty. And yes, I did go around and count every single one of these little sections of the plate to make sure it was divisible by 3, and yay, it was. So this was super easy to do. So I'm just skipping to painting every single one Caribbean blue, and then we're going to go in there and add another color. I really appreciate the fact that this was easy to paint without having to tape it for sure. And I think that color looks really nice with the blue that's already on there. So I give that a quick dry, and then I want to go in with like a driftwood color, and I don't really have any paint that color, so I'm going to kind of make it by mixing a little bit of ivory acrylic with some antique wax by Waverly. I love that finish it gives. I use it a lot. Just trying to mix it until I get it the way I like it, and then we're going to go in and paint every third this driftwood color too. So I just pick one. I'm going to do it right next to the blue one. And make sure you get your paint dry. You don't want them like bleeding into each other. And I'm just using a small brush from the Dollar Tree. And you have to go over it a couple times, but I don't really want great coverage. I think it's going to kind of add to the distressed element of the piece. And this was probably the easiest DIY we did today. This was really easy to put together, and it turned out so pretty. I just love it. So every third, we're making a driftwood color. And I do want to kind of go over the whole thing with a little ivory to distress it, just to give it more of that coastal farmhouse vibe. So I'm just using a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree and just kind of pulling it away from the edges to stress the outside edge. If you get a little too much on there, you can always blend it or wipe it a little bit with a baby wipe. I also go in and kind of pull from the inside too, just to kind of distress that inner edge as well. Now here is the mirror. I think it's going to fit in there really nicely with enough room to do a rope border like they had in there. So I'm just going to put down a lot of hot glue here to make sure this mirror stays in place, and there is my camera. So we're just going to make sure that is glued down well, and then we can add the rope to this project. I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree brown rope. I decided on the thicker one. You could totally get away with the smaller one. as well. I kind of went back and forth whether I wanted to do 1 or 2 rows like they did, and I ended up going ahead and doing 2 rows. So I'm just going to pick a place to start, and we can start gluing that around. Now, I do kind of want to burn the fuzzies off first, and so that's what I'm going to do. And I kind of end up burning the fuzzies off of all of this because it was a little rough. Once you get it in there, you're not going to be able to clean it up at all. So that's always an important step, especially on something like this mirror where I don't want a lot of fuzz happening to block the mirror. So I just do a bead of hot glue, and we're just going to start doing like one section at a time. I am gluing this up against the edge of the little charger plate. And if you do like a quarter at a time, you can kind of still work with your hot glue while it is nice and wet. And we're going to do that all the way around. Now, honestly, the one piece of rope really almost filled the entire seam in. There was a little bit of a gap, and the original piece did have 2 pieces of rope to go around the inside, so that is why I chose to do another row. So I'm just going to start at the bottom, the same place that I had the seam on the first one, just to kind of make it consistent. And we're going to glue that all around. You're getting some behind the scenes action with this mirror. You get to see my lights. You get to see my camera. So we glued a second row of rope. Now, the original Kirklands piece also had like a row around the edges. And I want mine to truly be on the edge. And so I am just doing a bead of hot glue directly on the edge of the charger and gluing that to it. That's going to frame it out really nicely and give it that same vibe and look as the Kirklands one. And just like before, we're going to do like one section at a time to make sure that our hot glue doesn't set up on us. And I don't want to get too much on the paint. Do have a few little strings, but all I got to do is kind of peel that off the mirror and clean everything up, and we should be good to go. I do the seam at the bottom just like I did the other ones, and that's going to be the bottom of my mirror. It's super cute and very lightweight, so I think it's going to be easy to hang because, again, the plastic charger is just a lightweight plastic plate, and the mirror is not very heavy either. So just cleaning up any excess hot glue and trimming off any of the fuzzies that are still there. And we have a mirror. I think it turned out so cute. Very coastal. I just flip it over, and I'm going to make a super easy hanger just by taking a loop of twine and tying it to itself there at the end to make a little hanger for the back. It's going to be hidden back here. I'm going to attach it right to the middle of the charger. And then since it is a mirror, I wanted to give a little extra reinforcement back there. So I'm going to take some burlap from the Dollar Tree and just glue that on top of the knot just to secure it a little bit, but I think it's going to be fine. And we did it. We have our first Shore Living DIY, this little coastal mirror. It's so cute. Just need to clean the mirror. And here was the starter inspiration piece from Kirklands, $200 on sale for $150. And here is the one that I recreated. Let's see, for $3.75. Pretty good deal. I think it turned out really pretty. What do you guys think about this one? Okay. Hey guys, we're going to have our big 15K giveaway later on in this video, so be sure to stick around so you can find out how to enter. So exciting. Okay, our next DIY, I don't need any of these beautiful Shore Living plates, so I only picked up one of each, one of the larger plates and one of the salad plates. And I thought, since I don't really need plates, that I could use this to make a cute little coastal dessert stand for my kitchen. So that's what we're gonna do, and probably the hardest part of this project was just getting those darn tags off the bottom of them. But have you guys seen these dishes in your Dollar Tree? They're so pretty. I did pick up like 4 of the mugs so I could do like a beach coffee bar. That sounds fun, but really I have no room for any new dishes, but they're really nice. I really like them. So I'm going to use the small plate and the large plate, plus a candle holder and a vase, both from the Dollar Tree. I tried to get like the same shape. The candle holder is what I'm going to use to go in between the 2 tiers, and it's already white, so it's perfect. I don't need to do anything to it, and that way I won't have to have anything that interferes with food either, because I don't have to paint it or anything like that. Now, I want to make sure this stays put, so I am going to use some E6000. I like buying these little individual tubes from Walmart, because if you've worked with this stuff a lot, you know that it like sets up in the tube and then you can't get it started. You end up like wasting like a whole half of a tube. I can't stand it. But I'm going to use a combination of that plus some hot glue in the middle to try to help stick this originally, and just center that on the bottom of that plate, with the candle holder part gonna be straight up against the plate to give you a nice seal. Now you do have to make sure that E6000 dries, but that stuff is strong, especially with glass. I've never really had it fall apart on me. So that's what we have so far, the top of our dessert tier tray, I guess. And this is going to be the bottom. Now, originally I thought I was just going to paint this white to match the other, and it's not going to matter if it's painted because it's going to be the base. And you could do that if you want to be able to wash yours, but I decided I wanted to give mine more of a coastal touch. So I'm going to use some of this white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree and wrap it around the base. Now, it does make it where, you know, I'm not going to be able to wash the base of it. But I usually, you know, use desserts and stuff like that that are in packages somewhat. Like, I'm going to show you how it looks with cupcakes. And so I don't really have to worry about washing the base anyway. And I really wanted to try wrapping it in rope to kind of see what this looks like. So I just start on the very bottom and just start gluing the rope around. I think this is the 11-foot white rope. When you get to a seam right there, you want to kind of keep going with it, but you want to get it like as tight as you can, because you don't want to be able to see any glass in between. So I just work one section at a time and secure it on there until it dries, kind of squeezing it together with the rope underneath of that. And we are going to keep going all the way up this vase and wrap this. I do like the look this gave the dessert tray. But again, remember, if you do the rope technique like this, you're not going to be able to wash the whole thing in your sink. Now, I was really hoping that this rope would go all the way to the top, and I made it so close. I did have to use a tiny part of another package of rope to get the very last row. But that's no big deal. You guys know I have always got a ton of this stuff sitting around. When you do have a little seam in your rope, you're going to want to hot glue that, kind of let it cool off. And then once it cools off a little bit, you can kind of mold the rope to do exactly what you want it to do. So I'm going to cover up every single bit of the outside of the vase. And we have our little rope base that we can now start putting this together. Okay, so again, I want to use some of that E6000 to attach the ceramic to the ceramic. So I'm going to go like a bead around the inside of that vase. I still have a glass part that I can glue down. And then, you know, maybe a little hot glue on the rope just to help it get set initially. And I'm going to glue that right to the center of the large plate. And you got to kind of work quickly, especially if you're using the hot glue. The E6000 is a little bit more forgiving. And it looks like I still have part of the label on the bottom of that, so I'm going to quickly try to get that off before we move on. And now we have our 2 pieces of our dessert tray. So again, I have a little bit of E6000 left in here, enough to go around the bottom of this candle holder to get a nice good seal on there. Now you could also use this to make a tier tray for decorative purposes. It's going to be a little bit on the small side for a tier tray though, but if you're decorating with small things, you totally could do that. I do a bead of hot glue inside the E6000. You want to make sure that you don't really mix those glues together. And then center it on the large plate, building the tier tray. And again, try your best to get it centered. Mine's not perfect, but it turned out pretty good. Now you do have to let this dry a little bit, but let me show you what we've got so far. Little Shore Living dessert tier tray. I love the rope base. I think it's really pretty. I'm not going to put anything in the center of the top. That way I can use all of the space on the top plate to store desserts or display desserts. And this is how it turned out. I think these plates are gorgeous. And then let me also show you what this looks like filled with desserts, because we had a reason to celebrate in our house today. My son got into college today, and so we got cupcakes to celebrate, and I had the perfect little dessert tray to display them. Look yummy, huh? Okay. Time for another DIY. These are new this year, the little wooden plaques. I picked up a seahorse, a starfish, and an octopus, and I thought we could paint these, put them together like as a large piece and see what we could come up with. Now, as soon as I finished this DIY today, I went to Dollar Tree, of course, and I found the sea turtle one, which I like even better. So I bought more of them. So I guess I'm going to have to get creative and come up with another idea. Now they do all have the little wooden beads hanger on the top. And so I'm just going to remove that from at least 2 of them, because again, I want to kind of combine all these together and make a larger piece. So we'll do the seahorse on top. We'll go ahead and leave the wood beads on there, but we'll just save these for another DIY. Now, I was thinking about trying to take these apart, you know, popping the little animals off of these to make it easier to paint, but they were really good and secure. And so I thought, you know what, I better leave it all together. I'm just going to have to take my time, paint this, and make it work. I do start by using some painter's tape on the frames so that I don't get any paint on them. You probably don't have to do this step because I am going to get paint on the little creatures on them, and I'm going to paint them the same color I'm going to paint the frame, but I was trying to be clean here, so I'm just using painter's tape on all 4 of the frames so we can paint these. I thought it would be pretty to go in with like a beachy blue color, so we're going to mix something up. And make sure you use a brush though, because you're going to want to get in all of the holes that you see on the little wood cutouts. I'm going to mix Caribbean blue and ivory together to give me this really, really light beachy blue. And then I'm just going to go in and paint the backs of each one of the pictures and like behind the little wood shape. So you have to make sure you get in all of the little holes. A little bit tricky. And I even go up along the edges inside the frame, just trying to cover up all of the natural wood. I kind of wish these came in a kit, so you could kind of paint them separately and then put them together yourself, but It is what it is. They're cute, and I thought we could do something fun with them. You do want to make sure that your paint doesn't pull up along the edges or inside any of the cutouts, because it is going to dry that way. And make sure that you mix enough paint when you're doing a custom color, because it makes it hard to match. But I kind of follow mine up with a small brush and try to, any pools of paint that shouldn't be there, kind of blend it all in. And I think we got pretty good coverage here. I'm going to give them a quick dry and remove the painter's tape, and then we can keep going. They already look kind of cute, don't they? Even with that natural wood frame. I kind of went back and forth whether I wanted to leave the natural wood frame or stain it or something. I do end up painting it white. So the painter's tape did a pretty good job. Only a couple areas leaked through. And I'm just going to try to stain it white with a rough stain just by using some white acrylic. And I'm just using a baby wipe to kind of wipe it on there. Kind of keep it all where it's supposed to go. Kind of give a little bit of a whitewash finish. And I'm going to go in there with that same bright white color to do each of the creatures that are on the front too. I got all 3 of the frames painted white, and then I decided that I probably want to do the wood beads too. I tried it with the baby white, but I felt like I was just getting a very light stain on there. So I did have to follow that up with a paintbrush and get a little bit more paint on there. Kind of turning them as you go. That way you can paint them without having to take them off of the twine. Now I'm going to use a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree and just lightly dab white on top of these sea creatures. And it is okay if I get a little bit on the background because I like that coastal farmhouse vibe. So I'm going to go in and distress it later anyway. So I don't have to worry about that. But I try to be as neat as I can when I go in and paint all these sea creatures. Now I did have to paint them all blue first. And so it does take like a couple of coats to kind of get that bright white color that kind of pops against that blue background. Looking good. And then I'm going to use that same white to distress all over just slightly and just kind of working in one direction. Because I love my coastal farmhouse. I got to have a little bit of distressing. I also go over the frames with another coat of white to kind of make them pop as well. And I think this looks really cute together. I love these guys. I thought we could kind of string them all together with some of this Dollar Tree burlap ribbon and have one long art piece that we can hang from the wall. So all you got to do is flip these over and we are going to attach the burlap to the back. I love these burlap rolls they have at the Dollar Tree. Have you guys seen them at your stores yet? I always try to grab a couple rolls when I see them because they're so nice with the seams on the side. I'm just kind of measuring like 2.5 inches, I think, between each one just to make sure they're kind of all set up even before I go in to attach them. And I have that nice thick frame that goes around the edges, so it is thick enough to use my staple gun. So that's definitely what we're going to do. I checked it out to make sure that the staples didn't go all the way through, and now I have to remeasure because I shouldn't have moved them. Just 2 staples in the top frame and 2 staples here in the bottom. And this was a quick, easy way. And it also, like to attach them, but it also gives it like a nice coastal vibe as well with that burlap. So we got them all secure and trimmed off the excess. Let me show you how this little wall hanging looks. I think it's so cute. I love all of the new Shore Living items. I think they're so cute. And let me show you how this one looks hanging up. I really like the white against the blue background. I think it makes it really pop. And you definitely can paint these without having to try to take them all apart and risk the chance of breaking those cute little sea creatures. That octopus is kind of fun, huh? Hey guys, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about my Facebook group. I always have it linked in the description below. We would love to see what you're working on over on Facebook. I also have a Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. And my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube, and I would love to see you on any and all of those platforms. Okay, next DIY. This one is so much fun. I'm going to take 2 of these long wood signs from the Dollar Tree to make a larger sign. You could also use, the long signs that are kind of white and distressed. I thought about that, but I kind of wanted this size exactly, and I kind of wanted to do like a slatted wood pattern. I'm going to have kind of a gap between the 2 and just attach them with those popsicle sticks. I also alternated which end the holes were in on the sign there. So, sometimes you guys don't like it when I don't fill the holes, but sometimes like on this one, I do it on purpose because it really adds to the coastal farmhouse vibe of an old board. If it has holes in it, I think it's fine. But first we are going to paint it ivory, and we're not going for a full coverage. It's okay if a little bit of wood shows through. That's going to give it that coastal farmhouse vibe for sure. And a quick sand, and I think these things are ready to put together. You want to try to make sure they're not bowed. Mine are slightly bowed, but not too bad. I think we're going to be able to straighten it out. With the braces, we're going to use the popsicle sticks. And I'm just going to leave these natural wood. I think that's going to be fine. I just start in the middle, hot gluing that on. And then I'm going to use a total of 5. The reason I'm using so many is because I want to try to fix that bow issue to make this like a slat board sign. If you're going to use this outdoors, you're going to want to use like thicker wood or double these up. I thought about making this an outdoor sign, but I ended up making it for my house. So I think the thin wood is going to work. When I glue them on, I kind of hold it down, trying to straighten out that bow a little bit. And I do finally get it to cooperate. So we're going to glue down our 5th and final brace, and we have a nice large little coastal sign that we can decorate. Now I'm going to start by using some of my stencil vinyl. I cut this out on my Cricut, and I will share the Cricut file below if you want to recreate this. But I used the word mermaid, something that I found in Cricut Design Space. And then I typed in the word crossing because I couldn't find a mermaid crossing image, and that's what I wanted this to say. I want to do a really fun mermaid sign. So I cut these out that they would fit on one of the slats of the sign. And I love this stencil vinyl. It's a #1 thing I use my Cricut for, is to make stencils. I always have that linked in my Amazon shop below, as well as this paper transfer paper that works so good. It doesn't damage paint. The only thing is you have to kind of look through it, to kind of line it up. But it does such a great job, and it retains its stickiness, so you can always reuse it. I'm going to go ahead and reuse that piece here on the second one too. Had a hair in there. So got that down secure, and I'm going to use that same transfer paper to put this part of the stencil down as well. I wanted to do like a kind of a bright blue teal against the ivory. So that's what we're going to paint that, because that's also kind of what we're going to do with the mermaid. I found some great sequins from the Dollar Tree for the mermaid tail, and it turned out so cute. So I don't really have a color that matches, so I mix like turquoise and this more like ocean blue color together until I get like the exact kind of color that I want that's going to kind of match that sequins for our little mermaid tail. And then just using a dauber from the Dollar Tree, we are going to daub on top of our stencil. I don't really mind if I have a tiny bit of bleeding, so I'm not going over it with ivory or Mod Podge or anything first. Just doing one coat of that teal color all the way across. And I do give it a pretty good dry before I try to remove the stencil vinyl, and it did a pretty good job. The cursive can be a little bit trickier, but this one turned out pretty good as well. You kind of have to be careful if you do use a heat gun like I do, that you don't melt your vinyl too much, but looks pretty good. So let's just weed out the rest of our stencil, and we have the top half of our mermaid crossing sign. We are gonna have one of those little mermaids that like swims across the bottom part of this sign, and it turned out so cute. I love this DIY. So I got it good dry. I like to sand it a little bit with the hand painted signs to kind of flatten it out, distress it slightly. And I'm gonna do like a coastal farmhouse vibe on this one, even though I'm also gonna have like a lot of glitz and glam on the mermaid too. I kind of mixed the two styles together just by slightly distressing all of that writing that we just did with some ivory. And it actually worked out good mixing the two styles together. So this is the mermaid from the Shore Living line. Normally I can pop the little starfish off these pretty well, but I don't know what my deal was on this one, but I broke that little starfish, and I must have not had a very clean spatula either, because I kind of made a mess out of her, but that's okay. We're gonna clean her up here with a little bit of Goo Gone and have a little perfect surface that we can make a little mermaid on. I'm not going to worry about the hole in her tail or in her hair because I have plans to cover those up, but we are going to bling out this mermaid. The first thing I'm going to do is use that same teal color that we used to paint the top part of the mermaid sign, and I have the stencil dauber, so I might as well just use it, and I'm just going to paint all over our little mermaid, making her that bright teal color. I don't use that color very often, but I really like how this DIY turned out. I think it's really pretty. Now I do have plans to cover parts of her, but in case you could see anything through, it's gonna have that nice base color underneath. Now my plan was to use some of the sequin swatch from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. I thought this would be perfect for a mermaid tail. You guys know I'm always trying to find a new kind of texture or material that I can use to cover these mermaid tails. And sequins definitely looks like fish scales. And so this is that like sequins that you push one way, it's one color. Another way, it is the blue color. I'm just making sure that I get them going the right way so that I can do that before I attach this to my mermaid. Now, it's not quite long enough to cover the entire tail, but that's okay because the very like tip of the tail, I thought we could do something else anyway. I just wanted to cover the main part of the tail. Now, it has like a black fabric on the back of it, so that'll be easy to kind of write against. I'm just using a white paint pen, and I'm just gonna kind of sketch out the shape of her tail on the back. You could totally use chalk too, or whatever you have. And we can cut that out. I think my camera died here, but basically I just cut this down to size, cutting off the tip part, and we have the perfect little mermaid tail. It is so bling. I absolutely love how this turned out. Just trimming up any like sequins that were kind of overlapping the edges a little bit to kind of clean it up a little bit. And look how pretty that is. I love this. I found it in a couple different colors, but this one really reminded me of a mermaid. I think I also got it in purple, the sequins. So just using hot glue, we're going to secure that onto our little mermaid. And making sure all of her scales are all kind of going the same way. And really, I don't want any of them like overlapping the edges. I want the straight, clean lines of the mermaid. I did notice that her waist wasn't real secure, so I'm just going to reinforce that a little bit with some hot glue. And then we can keep decorating this guy. I love it. It's so shimmery. So I thought I could use some of this like diamond mesh wrap. It's a very similar color from the Dollar Tree to kind of do her tail. You could kind of use whatever you want. I thought this would cover up that hole in the bottom and coordinate nicely with the sequins. I do have a little bit of leftover sequins. If you wanted to go all the way down and cover the tip of the tail too, you could probably do that. But I just kind of sketched that out on the back. Can't really write on that slick surface, but you can kind of, you know, leave an indent, which makes it easy to cut. And you're going to want to cut this first before you try to attach it to the tail, I think. There's the little diamond mesh wrap. This stuff is so easy to work with because it is just a giant sticker. So just peel and stick. I did notice I trimmed it a little short at the very, like where it comes together. So I'm just going to cut a loose one and secure that in there to kind of fill that up. With a little bit of hot glue because those individual ones aren't going to stick real well. Now for the teal mermaid body, I wanted to stress it with a little ivory to kind of give that same distressed coastal farmhouse vibe that we did on the top part of the mermaid sign. And I'm going to leave her body and her face that blue color. I think that's going to be fun. But I did want to do something fun for her hair. I thought we could go ahead and attach it now, though, to the sign. That's going to make it a little bit easier to work with. And it fits on there just perfectly. So just a little hot glue all over. And it can kind of overlap to the board sign up top. And she's so pretty. Okay, I wanted to try a technique for her hair. This is the same technique that I used on my mermaid on my shell video, one of my other new shore living DIY videos this year. I have lots of these guys. You'll have to check them all out. And I thought I could just unroll some of that brown rope from the Dollar Tree to make a beautiful mermaid hair. So I'm going to start along the very top, kind of trying to keep that together. When you unwind this thinner brown rope from the Dollar Tree, you can get like 3 little pieces, and it's already got like those like beachy mermaid waves, so that works perfectly. I'm also going to do one all along the very outer edge of the top to kind of cover up that seam. And we're going to have it all like flowing back like she is swimming, and all of her long hair is like kind of flowing back. Now, I don't want to cover up like too much of her face. And so I kind of just start back a little bit each time. And so I do kind of have to trim them, even though I had them kind of all cut down the same size. And just kind of overlapping them slightly. I kind of want to cover the blue paint. And I don't really want to see very much of that, like in the cracks between. So I just keep cutting down pieces of that rope about the same length, and then unwinding them and gluing the little curls on. She kind of has like crazy hair there in the front, but I will go back and fix it a little bit. And then I like to kind of do like some just kind of going out from the very top of her hair, kind of going straight out to kind of give her a little bit of a hairstyle. And I don't want it like flowing out too far from the sign because it's going to be a sign hanging on the wall. So I want it to be relatively flat, so I kind of glue it back down like that. I also decide just to cut one piece a little bit shorter and kind of unwind it, kind of give her like some hair here on front. That kind of like looks like bangs. Just because it's not very attractive at the top. But I think that looks a little bit better. So there is her mermaid hair. I love how sparkly and shiny this little mermaid turned out. And I think it's so cute. What do you guys think about this? This would be really cute in a bathroom. This would be really cute in a little girl's room as well, I think. I'm not sure where exactly I'm going to put it in my house. I'm going to have to get creative. Maybe the guest room. That might be fun. So I just flip it over, take a little twine. All I'm going to do is tie some knots that I can glue down to the back of the sign and just attach it to the back with hot glue. It's not very heavy because those little signs from the Dollar Tree are relatively thin. And we have a little hanger. Isn't she cute? I just love the sparkles. This is how it looks hanging in my home. And I don't think from this angle you can get like a proper gleam of how sparkly she is. So I'm going to show you also from another angle so you can kind of see when the light hits this thing how pretty it is. Isn't that fun? I love her. Hey guys, don't forget we're having our big 15K giveaway today because we're getting ready to hit 15,000 subscribers. Stick around later in the video to find out what you're going to win and how to enter. Exciting. Okay, our next DIY, I'm going to use a thrift flip sign with some shore living items. I got this half price at Goodwill, so it was like $2.50. The reason that I'm using a thrift flip sign and not a Dollar Tree sign is because I am going to make this sign for my Florida room, like my back porch of my house. Some of you guys have been asking for some more outdoor beach DIYs, so I thought we would do a couple here. Now, I kind of love the color of this sign, and it's kind of the perfect size. I just need to like cover up the writing that's on there. I have a turquoise color that's pretty close, but I figure I better go ahead and paint over all those words with white first because I definitely need to block that out, that white writing, before we can go in and kind of make our own sign. I love the inspiration though, the blue with the white. I just go over it with some white acrylic until it is hard to read that writing through. I think that's going to mask it pretty good if I now go over it with that turquoise color. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I kind of do like a very rough coat. I don't really care if you can see a little bit of the white shining through. It's going to look distressed, and you know I'm going to go back and distress this thing anyway. But I do go ahead and put one coat on and give that a dry to see if it covered all of that writing. And it did a pretty good job, but I thought I'd better touch up just here and there just to make sure. And then I want to have like a fun, like on beach time sign, using some of that rope beach from the Dollar Tree and one of their little wall charms. So this is the rope beach word, and then I'm going to use some of those wood letters from the Dollar Tree to spell out. I'm going to have it say on beach time. I think that would be really cute. Make a fun little coastal sign for my back porch. Now, the little rope beach does have like hangers on the back, and I don't really need that. So I'm just going to use my screwdriver to remove those little brackets so that I can glue that down to my sign. I don't normally decorate my Florida room too much because I get frustrated because I have to take down everything for the hurricanes. And so I'm going to break down and do it. But I have a great Florida room. My husband is super creative, and he took like a 9-foot piece of driftwood that he found on the beach and turned it into a light fixture. He also built my furniture out there, and it's really fun. I love my Florida room. I'll have to give you a tour of it sometime. So I just burnt the fuzzies off my beach, and it did kind of burn some of the ends, so I had to trim that down. Now, one of you guys gave me a tip. It's easier to paint these letters by using some painter's tape. So I thought I would try it, kind of keep them from all like sliding around, and it actually worked out really well, I think. And so I want to paint these white so they'll kind of pop against that blue background that we did on the sign. I love the white on the blue for a coastal sign. And that does work pretty well, huh? I just use a foam brush and paint those white. Now I do want them to look slightly distressed, so I do distress them a little bit. But those are the wood letters that they are from the Crafter Square. You get 26 in a package, so you get one of every letter. For the distress, I just do a very light distress with just a little bit of Antique Wax by Waverly and a dry brush to kind of give it that same distress that you see on the white seashell there for the wall charm that we're going to use to kind of make those match. And this is the wall charm. I don't really need the wood beads, the hanger, or the tassel on there, so I can save them for something else. I'm just going to pull those off the back and remove the staplers with a pair of pliers. So here is our coastal sign. I love it. It did a great job covering it. I do want like a little bit more distress though, so I am going to go in here with some ivory and just kind of distress it slightly all in one direction. I just think that gives it so much more character. Now it's time to start putting this sign together. I want like the shell on the left, beach kind of in the middle, spelling out on top, and then time underneath. So I'm just going to start gluing things down. With the wood letters, I want to try to not use too much hot glue. I don't want any of that to really seep out. And just get them on there as straight as possible. Quick, easy way to do lettering on your signs without having to break out your Cricut. And then I'm going to glue down the word beach because I removed the bracket on the back. A great way to get rope letters. They have beach, the word love, and there's another word too. I can't remember what it was. Beach was my favorite though, so I picked up a couple of these. So I glue that one right there in the middle. And now we have to just secure the last word of our sign for time. I'm going to kind of start in the middle and kind of line these up since that top word was like 2 letters. I'm going to kind of line that one up with the middle of that one and kind of work from there. That way the spacing is fairly good. And I think that's so cute. The only thing we have left to attach is the wood shell. These wall charms are fantastic. I've used these for the wind chime in my last video, and I think they're so fun. I think the colors really work together on this, and I'm just gonna kind of try to remove a little bit of hot glue from the beach sign that you could see on there from how they put it together, but here it is, our on beach time sign. I think this is gonna look so cute out on my Florida room. What do you guys think about this one? It's a little brighter than the blues I normally do, but I think it's gonna look good out there because I have a little bit more of a tropical vibe. And I have like a light blue curtains all over my Florida room, so I think this is gonna contrast nicely. And I think it will definitely hold up under the elements outside. Okay, now this one I couldn't decide between a wood round or a charger. Now, I wanted to show you that because you could use either or. What we're gonna do is make a really fun coastal tray for a lot of the new shore living items at Dollar Tree. And I'm gonna make this for my Florida room too. It can go on my coffee table out there. And I think it'll look really cute. The reason I chose the charger is I like the size and it is plastic on the bottom. So I think that's going to work nicely with the table, the plexiglass table that I have out there that shows my shell collection. Oh yeah, my husband made that too. And I'm going to build the sides of this. I'm going to make it into a tray with handles. And I'm going to use some of this Dollar Tree white rope. This is I think it's the 6-foot white rope. It is the fairly wide rope. And I thought we could build up the sides, go all the way around with the rope, kind of making it look like a rope basket with some rope handles. Now, this is a charger plate, and so you do have a little bit of room here on the bottom. So I'm actually going to start my rope on the bottom and kind of sandwich the top rope and the bottom rope around the plate, kind of securing it in there, and it kind of takes away the appearance that it is a plate and not a tray. So I'm going all the way up to the edge and overlapping about halfway on the rope over the edge so that I can sandwich that together with the rope layer that I do on top. So I'm just using hot glue, and I just work like a section at a time to make sure that I can get that glued down before any of that hot glue starts to set up. And since I want the bottom of mine to be flat, I'm just going to go around one time and then cut it down to size. That way it will be nice and level here for the bottom. And this charger that I found at Dollar Tree is great. It kind of looks like driftwood, but you know what? You're not going to be able to see it in the final project, so it doesn't really matter which one you start with. Now, I don't have enough of that original rope left to go all the way around it again, so I'm going to go ahead and start another package. But from here on out, I can keep going on with the same piece of rope because I'm kind of all working on the same side now. So just starting where I started before, I'm kind of lining up my seams in the same area. I'm going to start gluing that to the edge of the top of the charger plate and also gluing it down to the rope underneath, just sandwiching the plate in between. I don't really want any of the plate sticking out. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around this, trying to work with the hot glue while it is still warm so I can, make sure I get a nice circular shape. I don't want this to look all crazy in the end. So that's kind of how I'm squeezing the ropes together to kind of hide that seam. And I'm glad that I started that way. I think it made it turn out way better. I was trying to think what I could use for the sides of my tray. I thought about building them up with Jenga blocks, but I didn't really think that was necessary. It could just be a lot of extra work. So I decided to try rope, and I really like how it turned out. Now I'm not going to cut it here. I'm going to keep going with that same piece of rope, just trying to get the seam as tight as I can when I start the next row of rope. And from here, I don't have anything with the plate to attach it to. I just have to glue it to the rope underneath. So that's what we're going to do. Working a section at a time, making sure I shape it as I go to make sure that it's glued directly on top of the one below. And I'm going to go ahead and start a third package of rope here. And this seam's not going to line up with my other ones, but that's okay. There's going to be a seam every now and then, and you can hide them pretty fairly well. And I go around one more time here with row. And then cutting that down to size and finishing that off. I think I've got like enough rows to give me a nice side for our tray now. And so now we can make some handles for the side. I'm just using that same rope, kind of seeing how big I need my handles to be. And I'm going to knot the ends. It's going to keep it from fraying. It's going to give it a fun coastal touch. And it's going to give me something to glue to the outside of the tray. So I go ahead and tie a knot in both ends, kind of testing out the length and cutting that down to size. I go ahead and tie another knot. And I'm going to tie the other handle at this time so I can try to make them the same size. Just adjusting it until I get my knot in the same spot so that I can trim this. And we'll have two even handles. Now I do have like the seam area from where I started on the bottom of the tray and for when I started at the top here. So I kind of got a lot of seams here, so I'm going to kind of take advantage of covering that up with the handle to kind of disguise that a little bit, gluing that on to the outside of the tray. And then I'm going to loop it up to provide a nice handle. And this is, surprisingly strong. Like you can carry this tray even filled with lots of beach goodies and the handles totally are functional. So just on the opposite side, I'm going to do the same thing, just gluing those down, kind of flush with the bottom of the tray. It is looking pretty cute. I'm just going to clean up any excess hot glue I have, and we can decorate this. Now, I don't really want it to look like a plate. I want it to look like a tray, and I want it to be beachy. So I got some of this brown sand from the Dollar Tree. You could also use the white. That will look really cute too. And we're just going to start filling in the bottom of our tray with sand. Again, I'm going to use this on my coffee table out of my Florida room, but this would make a great centerpiece as well. As you can see, one package of the brown sand is just not really going to cut it close. So I do go ahead and have to open up a second package, and I decide to fill it in and make it look nice and sandy like the beach. And then from here, we can put all kinds of beach goodies in here. I want to decorate with a lot of the shore living items that I found. And some of these things you can win in the contest today, so be sure to stick around. The giveaway is coming soon. Okay, I'm going to start with just a couple pieces of driftwood that I picked up from the beach. Just some random shapes, but I think they'll fit in there fairly well. Just to give a little bit of a wood touch. You could always use sticks if you didn't have any actual driftwood. And then these are the little monkey fists, like the jute balls from the Dollar Tree. And they also have these new ones this year. Look at these, aren't they cool? They are like the little globe shape, but they're also wrapped in twine. They have those in brown and white. And you know, every year they make these little jute balls a different size. You can see the size difference on those. And they also have a small and a large of the little globe ones. I'm going to just start scattering stuff in here and arranging it and see if I like it. These are the Shore Living sand dollars and the Shore Living starfish. Is so cute. And we're just going to start filling this up. I want this as filled with beach goodies as we can find, so I kind of keep adding to it. I'm going to start adding some seashells. Some of these are from the Dollar Tree, some of these are from the beach, and I'm just going to start kind of scattering those around and filling this up. This is all about trying to make your eyes happy on this one and just keep decorating, changing things until you're happy with it. Thought we would add maybe another little starfish. And a few more seashells. And I do work on this for a little bit to get this exactly the way I want it. Next up is some of the Dollar Tree sea glass. My favorite is the light blue sea glass. The only bad thing is that you only get a few pieces in a package. I also have some of the jute twine balls, so kind of switching those out to see if I like that better. And then one of these little ceramic starfish from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree too. I think that'll look nicely in there. I love the texture on that starfish. And I think that would provide like a little fun pop of color right in the middle. And just arrange yours until you're happy with it as well. I got it pretty good. And then I decided it needed a few more, so I'm just adding some more seashells. I also add some more sea glass. I just kind of want it to look like as full as I can, and I totally can't decide what I want to do with those. Now, I love the starfish, and I just don't really love the color, so I think we could paint this guy. This is some Dollar Tree paint. I think it's called tea green, but it gives you a nice beachy blue color. I kind of like it. It's a little thin though on this ceramic starfish, so I do have to go over it a couple of times to get pretty good coverage. I don't care if a little bit shines through. I think that'll make it look a little bit more distressed. Once that's dry, I'm going to use a makeup sponge and some ivory to bring out that texture. just by rubbing it on there. Be careful that you don't wipe off your original paint like I did, but you can always go back in and touch it up. But I think it looks a lot prettier than it did before. That's just not my color of blue that it was before, but this is my favorite ceramic starfish they have at Dollar Tree right now. So I think that looks really good like that. Still adding to it. I told you I wanted some more sea glass, so I'm going to pick out some more of those colors. I like the light blue and I like the white, but I don't really like the bright blue or the green. And what do you guys think about this? I think this looks really cute. I think this is going to look so cute out in my Florida room for summer with lots of little fun things to look at. There it is. This is our last DIY today. And so we are almost to the 15K giveaway. I can't wait for you to see what I'm giving away today. I'm going to give away 15 of the most sought after shore living items to you guys. 15 for 15K. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment to tell you that I've introduced memberships on my channel. For $4.99 a month, you can get early access to my videos and other perks. I would really appreciate your support on my channel. It really helps keep these videos coming out to you. And I have 5 members, Crafty Beach Moms, right now. Thank you so much to Coastal Couple, I Am Mojo, Jojo, Karen O'Haron, Pamela Bergeron, and Sally Cooper. You guys are the best. And now it's time for the final reveal.
Look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait. For better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us. If we just hold on tight, this vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore. 7 years now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. For our home to show on the horizon, soon we'll be there. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us. If we just hold on tight, this vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore when we can't read the sky. We just sail with the wind that we've got. And when we're drowning in doubt, just keep on believing. We are dreamers of the shore.
Hey guys, are you still here? Are you ready for the 15K giveaway? It is time. Okay, so this is how you're going to enter the contest. in the comments below, you're going to include 15K, altogether one word, anywhere in your comment. You can say you're going to hit 15K. You can say congrats on hitting 15K, whatever you want. That's what I'll search for, and I'll do a drawing of everyone that comments 15K. Be sure to check my community tab and or on Facebook. I will post everywhere the winner so that you can claim your prize. And the rules are that you need to live in the continental United States and you have to be 18 years old to enter the contest. Okay, you want to find out what you're going to win? I'm going to fill up this giant envelope from the Dollar Tree with shore living items. Check out these glass stickers. These are new this year. These bright coral. I think these are going to be so fun to DIY with. These are also new. They're like a blue and gray dot pattern of sea creatures. And this one is one of my favorites. Also new this year, the dolphins. Now, you don't just have to use those on glass. You can use those on just about anything. And I think you're going to love DIYing with those. So let's start filling this up. We have 15 items to give away today. Here is the Shore Living Sand Dollars. There's a 3 in a package. You're also going to get the Shore Living Starfish, also 3 in a package. You guys know I love to craft with these, and they work great, like for filling in that little beach tray that we just made. I try not to ship anything fragile because I don't want the post office breaking it. Up next is some of this hanging decor. You guys see me use this in my driftwood wall hanging. So cute to DIY with. There's a sand dollar and a starfish. You can leave them as is, or you can take them apart and DIY with them like I like to do. Next up are some of these cute little wood sea turtles. You guys know I love sea turtles. These would be so cute to DIY with. There's a whole bunch in the package, so you could have them all swimming to the sea if you'd like. And then also some of these little wood whales. I think you get 6 of those in a package, and they're super cute, and they'd be really easy to DIY with as well. So we're going to add those to our giant envelope. Up next is one of my favorites, one of these plastic seashells. You guys have seen me DIY with these a couple of times. If you paint them, they look just like a seashell. You can give great texture, so easy to DIY with. Kind of hard to find right now, at least at my Dollar Trees. Up next is one of the little galvanized metal seashells. You can leave these as they are, or in my previous DIY video, I show you how I paint that and add it to a sign. Turned out super cute. And some wood items. So these are the little mermaid tails. I think this is the 3rd year in a row they've had these with the Shore Living line. There's 3 of them tied together, so you can use them separate to make 3 different projects or all together. They're so cute, and you can do like a little hot glue on or sequins on the scales. That'd be so cute. And this I think is new this year, the little starfish photo frame. You could put a picture in there and decorate this, or you could cover the front of that up and just use that starfish shape. Another fun DIY item. And then recognize this. I went ahead and picked up another set of the wooden plaques that I used today. These are all new this year. You're going to get the seahorse, this starfish, and the octopus, just like I used today, so you can recreate that DIY if you'd like. So those are 15 Shore Living items. Be sure to comment 15K below if you want to win this envelope, and I will get it out to you as soon as possible. Good luck. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, comment 15K below, and your favorite DIY. And don't forget to subscribe because we're trying to get to 15K. That's what this whole giveaway is for. I think I will do the drawing on Wednesday to give you guys all a chance to enter, and good luck. If you'd like to watch more Crafty Beach YouTube things, you might enjoy this video right here.